Hey guys, let's talk about tonight's season finale of Scandal. And it was a pretty good episode. I really liked it. We had some obvious twists and turns. Once again, Command is taking command of this episode, but he finally gets caught, which is kind of nice. And I'm hoping we can put B613 to bed finally. I did enjoy this episode. I thought it was pretty solid. You know, right off the top, we have Lizzie Bear and Mellie in a room with who is going by the name of not Rowan, but some like anonymous donor. And he is acting all like light and perky, and he's also like giddy and happy, and I can't wait to be like a billionaire who donates to your fund. And then he's like, I have a couple things though that I want to bring to your attention. Do you mind if I do take the time to do this? And she's like, of course, that's what we're here for. And then he gives her this file and she opens it, and it's got pictures of her having the affair with the vice president. It's got Fitz with Olivia. He's got files on Remington. All this stuff like that has obviously been going on for the last 3 seasons. And Mellie is sort of like, what is going on? Who are you? And she's just like shocked. And so obviously she tells Lizzie to leave, and she's like, who are you? He's like, you don't need to be asking me who I am. Like basically he's like, ask me what I want. Ask me what I want. And he's like, ask me, ask me. And it's just like, yikes. So he wants a list. And so, of course, you know, what do we know? We don't know anything about what list he's talking about because he never really reveals it. But Mellie's all shook up. She's, you know, they're doing all this quick cutting between her and Fitz, and, you know, him congratulating her on what a great job she's doing. And she's all frantic and not really telling him what's going on. And he's like, I want a list. And then she's like staring at him like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Lizzie's in her ear saying, are you okay? What do you need? I can get you anything you want. And she's like, get me a list. And then that's how it, of course, goes to the title card of Scandal. So, of course, in this episode, you know, we finally have the grand jury testimony that Jake is going to do on about B613. And, you know, he's still like, do you really want me to do this, Olivia? Because she knows that everything that he's about to say and reveal is going to take down the president, because there's stuff about rigging the election, stuff about him shooting down a plane before he was senator and became president, and you know there's tons and tons of stuff that he has knowledge of, and this will incriminate the White House like big time. So you know, she's sitting out in like the lobby area of the courthouse, and she's looking at these pictures of this picture of Fitz, and she's having all these flashbacks to moments that we've seen of her and Fitz throughout the last 3 seasons. And, you know, she realized the magnitude of what is about to happen. And he, like, once again says, are you sure you want me to do this? And she's like, we need to take down my father. We need to do this no matter who it hurts. So, you know, we see Jake in the room with David Rosen, and he's testifying. And, you know, he's testifying in front of the grand jury. And, you know, at the end, they walk out and everyone's like, yeah, that went really well. I think everything went well. And then all of a sudden, you see Huck and Quinn running up to Olivia, and or Huck is like, something went wrong, something's happened. And then you see them walking up to this bus, and David Rosen comes out, and he's like vomiting everywhere. And they get on the bus, and everybody's dead. And it's all the members of the jury, of the grand jury. And it's just like, like that is how we get the first 10 minutes of this show. It's nuts. So, you know, obviously Command is not going to take anything for granted. He is going to go the distance, and clearly he did. So he's put a hit out on everybody that was involved in that grand jury, and even I think the stenographer, I think that's what you call him, the person that's typing everything out was killed. And it's just like, it's a nightmare. So David Rosen's like, deuces, I'm out. Like, what do you want me to do? And of course, Cyrus goes to him and he's like, yeah, I don't think so. He's like, I'm not or at one point, David's like, you're going to fire me. He's like, no, why would I fire you? Because that means I'm just going to try to find somebody else. They're going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to have to like dig through all of their past history. I already know. So it's like, why go with the devil that you don't know? Go with the devil you know, right? So he ends up threatening him with Abby. He's like, yeah, you just got to find someone's weakness, and your weakness is Abby. So he basically says, if you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to kill her and anybody else that is close to her or you. So what does this mean? It means that when Olivia goes to the CIA to reveal all this information about B613 to the head of the CIA organization. She listens, she's hearing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you see her talking to Cyrus. So everybody knows about this B613, and she's like, I thought there was only supposed to be a small group of people that knew about this B613. Now I'm gonna have to take it down. I gotta put Rowan behind bars. He's like, yeah, I don't think so, because guess what? When you poke the bear, guess who the bear's gonna go after? So then all of a sudden, bam, Olivia and Jake are arrested. It's just like, what the hell? So, after Cyrus threatens David Rosen, he goes in to see Jake and Olivia separately, and he's basically like, you need to sign this document. You can never mention B16 again. No one's going to believe you, because once you sign this document, you can't talk about it, blah, 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 blah. And they both sign it, but Olivia thinks that Jake has signed it. Jake believes that Olivia signed it, and that's why they end up signing it. So it's just like, oh my goodness. So we get a visit, or Olivia, when she's so frustrated that her father has once again gotten in the way of taking down this organization, she goes to her mom, and she goes to visit her in prison. And that is why Olivia goes to the CIA, because her mom's like, look, you want to take down your dad, but nobody even knows who your dad is. So she plants it in Olivia's head that if you reveal who Command actually is, then that is how you can take him down. So that is what Olivia does, but not without her mother getting in some serious digs in Olivia, talking about, you think everything revolves around you and blah, blah, blah. Like, trust me, her parents are the worst. When her father was on the phone with her, I was just like, oh my God. This poor woman needs some serious therapy. After being kidnapped, having the mom and the dad that she has, this girl needs help, 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 help. So, she goes to visit mom, and mom is just relentless, but does help her with some piece of information. So she does what she does, and then she signs this document. Now she can't talk about B613. But then when Quinn and Huck mention that, there is a paper trail, because Huck has billions of dollars that he's basically smuggled out of the B613 fund, and this is how they plan to take down her father, by making it seem like he's been embezzling this out of the Smithsonian for years. So it's almost like, how do you take down Al Capone? You can't get him on the crimes that he's actually done, so you get him on tax evasion. So that's what I felt when that scene happened. I was like, so you can't get him for all the crimes against humanity that he's done under the guise of B613. So you get him for embezzlement, and so that's how she's like, yeah, that's right, because he was trying to throw it in her face, like, that's right, no one's ever going to find Command, because he basically killed every B613 agent that he could get his hands on that knew about Command, and then killed the guy that we saw in last week's episode, Virgil, or Pretend Virgil, and after he burnt and blew up all the documents on B613, and then Rowan shoots him in the head. So he's basically cleared all the loose ends, except for Quinn. Like, why wouldn't he kill Quinn and Huck? Like, come on. So he does all the cleaning and fixing that he needs to do, and then he basically says to Olivia, ha ha ha, got you, now Command doesn't exist. You will never take down Command, because you've basically erased him, and he's no longer somebody that anybody can find. So then she goes, yeah, you're right, I couldn't take down Command, but I can take down Eli. And I love, he's like, Olivia, Olivia! He's like screaming in the jail cell. Oh, that was priceless. So yeah, right now, as it stands, Eli is behind bars. So the other thing that went down in this episode, okay, so here's my thing. We have had a really nice rehabilitation year with Fitz. He has, not really been the center of attention in this season, and he's been behind Mellie and her campaign to become senator all the way through. He's been right by her side. He even gives us really, really, really great toast to her when they're, before she gets elected senator. And he says, she's my best friend. We're a team. I couldn't have gotten through anything with like this past year after the passing of our son. But because of her and her strength and, her resilience, like, she's just been my best friend. And he does all these great things. And I'm like, wow, this is the Fitz we love, right? And then Fitz finds out that, Mellie didn't tell him about what Rowan did at the very beginning of the episode, which was taking out the 16 jury members. Obviously, she didn't know that that's what those names were for. So when she finds out she's hysterical. She goes to Cyrus, and this is how Cyrus gets involved in all of this. Once the word Remington comes out, he freaks out. He goes to Rowan, then he goes to the CIA to talk to the head of the CIA, and basically says, look, you got to shut this down. So when now the president knows, and then he freaks out on Mellie. This is the only thing I didn't understand. Why is he getting so mad? And why is he not explaining to her why he's like kicking her out? He's like, get out of my house, pack your bags before I throw you out. I was like, dude, really? Like, are we going to erase all the good work that we've done all season and then get left with this? I wanted to punch him in the face. And I mean, like she said, I was doing this to protect you. I was doing this to protect us. We are a team. And he's like, we're not a team, get out. And then he fires Cyrus. And I was like, well, that I'm not mad at because Cyrus is the worst. I love him and I hate him. So, he was like just running all over the place, threatening everybody in this episode. And he was just off the rails. So, when Fitz fires him, I was like, all right, deuces. And then we see Mellie, moving into his office stat. So that was pretty funny. I was like, wow, she didn't waste any time. But she is the one who spilled the beans to the president. I mean, she didn't realize. She thought that he knew that Rowan had gone to Mellie at the very beginning. So I just don't know why he was carrying on like that. Why not just be like, why wouldn't you tell me? Like, we've been working so well together. But he freaks out and he just becomes like this douche. And I was like, whatever. So at the end now, he goes to see Olivia. And Olivia goes to see him. But before all that goes down, the scene that I was like, whoa, okay. So, Fitz we all know that Fitz still loves Olivia and Olivia still loves Fitz. And after Rowan goes to prison, Olivia goes to the house and she's all like, oh, you want to come in for a glass of wine? And he's all like, no, this is where the truck stops. And she's like, what's going on? And he, meaning Jake, is like, yeah, I'm in love with you and you're in love with him, so deuces. And she didn't say anything. Like when he was like, pause, dramatic effect, and she just stood there and it was just like, dude, how many times are you going to get dissed by Olivia? That's why I was like, if they just killed him off a couple of episodes, I wouldn't have been upset with it because all this back and forth with like him still revealing that he loves her, it's like, we know, we're like, I'm so over it. I like Jake. I like him. But if they had killed him off, I would have been like, that was a good wrap up of his story. Because now he's just going to walk off into the sunset by himself. Like, I don't know. Whatever. So that just also felt a little bit weird for me. And then the other thing that went down was Cyrus going to Olivia's mom and basically saying, if you sign this document, which means that you can never speak about B613 again, then you get to be freed from prison. Really? This woman killed 320 something people on a plane and you're just going to let her go? What? Like, this show sometimes, I just don't get it. So that happened. And then Quinn goes into Huck's little room and is like, why are you working for Rowan? And it's like, what? She's like, I know your work anywhere. I know that you're the one who killed all those people on the bus. And I was like, that was a shocker. So Huck obviously was being threatened by Rowan and that he would kill his family. So he went on the bus and killed all those people. Damn. And I mean, we all know he loves killing. So when Quinn stuck it to him and was like, I need to do you a favor and basically kill you, I was like, because I was just like, they just might do this. They just might go there. And either she would kill him or he would kill her. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to see this. So that scene was pretty good for me. I thought that was a pretty solid scene. So of course now we get to the scene at the end of the episode, and earlier on Olivia was talking to Fitz on the phone, and let me just, guys, I mean, sometimes, as much as I hate the back and forth with this character, their chemistry is just literally off the rails. So even when they were having that phone conversation earlier and they were talking and she's like, oh, I saw Mellie's rally, whatever, and she did a great job and congratulations and this and that, and they're going back and forth, and he's like, oh yeah, thanks a lot for giving me that the VP, and they're basically just having a really good conversation, and she says goodbye to him as though like that's the last time that she's going to talk to him. That's how it sounded to me, because I feel like she knew that what Jake was about to do was going to take him down. So that was sort of her way of sort of having a really nice last conversation with him. And then when Jake goes to see her and or walks her home, and he's like, yeah, this is where, you know, I stop because you're still in love with him. He says, you get to get what you know, earlier you said you don't get to have anything you want. Well, go get what you want. And obviously that's the president. So the president goes to Olivia's house after he kicks out Mellie and she's not there. Then he goes back to the White House and he goes to the balcony that we've been seeing all season long. And Olivia's there and they say their infamous, you know, hi, hi words. And then he's like, you're here. And she's like, I'm here. And then they walk towards each other and there's a moment where he's like, okay, now what do we do? Like, you know what I mean? And they just start kissing. And let's face it, guys, their chemistry is electric. I am not mad at that at all. And when they have not had them together for quite a while this season. So it was fine for me, but I just don't know if I liked that was the ending of the episode with her like straddling him on the balcony. And I'm like, don't people have like binoculars? Can't they see that you're not Mellie? I'm like, can you guys be more discreet? That's the only thing I was thinking at that moment. But yeah, the chemistry between these two is serious. Anyway, I know it was a pretty solid episode. There were some definite like moments, and then there was some good, you know, twists for next season. You know, Mellie is elected. What is that going to mean? What's going to happen now with Rowan being locked up, and now that Mama Pope is out? What, like, that is just crazy. And then we didn't get to see the end scene between Huck and Quinn. I mean, I don't think that she's going to kill him, but at the same time, who knows with these two? I mean, he pulled her teeth out. So, you know, there's some payback due here. And then we also have, oh yeah, so Jake is gone. Fine. I mean, who knows where that's going to end up, but I'm fine with him being gone. And, you know, Rowan's locked up. Mama's out in the open. Mellie's now the senator out on the street. Where is she? Where's she going to go? Olivia's straddling the president on the balcony. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of loose ends, and it's going to be interesting to see where we go for season 5. Yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this episode, this season finale. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And what do you think it might happen for next season? I mean, it's really always hard to gauge. I mean, I hope we're kind of done with this B613. They've destroyed all the files. You know, obviously, this wasn't a very secret organization because, you know, quite a few people knew. And once again, it's one of those things where you're like, these top organizations all know about this black site, like this, you know, deep, dark organization that goes on. And it's just allowed, like, it's just crazy, you know. And even at the beginning, or when they went to the CIA and they were saying what all these things that happened and then what really happened. And so all the things that we hear on the news and they blame it on one thing when really it's something else. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy all how much we're lied to. I'm pretty sure we're just lied to every day. And it's very, very scary. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. Let me know what you thought, and I will see you when the season returns. Can't wait. Bye, guys.